What up, guys? Welcome back to Late Night Live. This is episode 9. With me tonight, we have Ace of Jacks Media Grounds. Chris, what's going on, bro?
Not
The
a whole lot.
weatherman. He's got his green screen. And we got our pal Eric. He's back.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me back. I had a great time last week, so it's nice to be
Awesome.
back.
We didn't piss him off too much. It's been a very interesting week again in video game news. I want to go over a lot of layoffs again. I wanted to talk about. I played some new games this week. My impressions of Star Wars Dark Forces. I also got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I've had a couple issues with it. and then talk about some of the upcoming games like MLB The Show that I'm kind of concerned about a little bit. But Chris, what have you been? What have you? But I can't talk. What have you been up to last week? Any games that you've been playing?
I've been playing Pacific Drive on the
Oh, okay,
PlayStation
right.
5.
Nice. The one that's in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it's your courier who goes there, and you end up in this zone that's been blocked off by the government because of some paranormal experience. And essentially, the game is you have to try and drive through and figure out what's happened to this whole entire area. And every piece of your car has to be like fixed and upgraded. So it's kind of it's a strange horror RPG style driving game.
That sounds unique. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun game. And the more you upgrade things, there's other features you can add and everything. So
Who's this guy?
Retro Gaming
Retro Gaming
Autobot.
Autobot. I think I know who it is.
I think I know who it is too. What's up? What's up, Dathan? Dathan isn't here tonight. I think he's at Emerald City this weekend, or maybe we got that wrong, and he's at the Transformers convention. Whatever it is.
No, it was Emerald City this weekend. Transformers Con next weekend.
Right. Okay. But he's a busy man.
Mm-hmm, doing all the cool things.
We're glad you stayed up. Yeah. Eric, have you? How was your week? Did you get to play any video games at all?
Yeah, I was gonna ask if we didn't get into this what you guys were playing. So thanks for letting me know. I did look into Observation Duty since Chris was talking about it last time, and watch some of the videos for it. It looks, yeah. Somebody said it in the reviews. I immediately thought of Five Nights at Freddy's, and yeah, somebody said it's like a Five Nights at Freddy's kind of thing. But it looks fun. It looks cool. I haven't gotten into it, but it might make my list here pretty soon. But yeah, what I have been playing though is Darkest Dungeon. I've been playing that a lot. My brother and I, we started playing it during the pandemic, years ago. And then I just reinstalled it recently, and my games had synced to the cloud, which I didn't know it was doing. And so it was nice to have all my save states there. So that was cool. I've been playing a game called Terra Nil that I got pretty cheap on the Nintendo store. It's kind of like Sim City, but in reverse. Instead of building a city, you're like repairing an ecosystem. And it's like you build this infrastructure to restore like water flow and bring life back to the oceans. And then once you get to a certain point in the game, you pivot and you try to decompose all of that infrastructure that you've built, so that you just return like nature to itself, which is kind of an interesting idea. Baldur's Gate 3 multiplayer happens still, so I'm doing that. And Darkest Dungeon, when I was reading about it again, everybody said it's roguelike, and if people kept tossing this roguelike genre about, and I was like, what the hell is rogue? Like I'd never, I mean, I've heard the term roguelike so much, but it never occurred to me that I could just play rogue and figure out what people are talking about. So I did. There's a old DOS games or whatever on the internet site. If you look up rogue, you can find it. And it just spins up a DOS VM on your browser, and you can play in the browser. So I started playing rogue a little bit to see what that was all about. That was kind of a fun throwback to old school gaming for me that I had never did before. It's kind of a fun thing to discover. Yeah, that's what I've been up to.
I'm too dumb for complicated games. All right, well, we're here for you.
We accept all kinds here.
So and myself, I got Star Wars Dark Forces.
Mm-hmm.
The game looks visually very good. It's like, it looks like a completely new game, but the problem with it is, I remember it's not like Doom and Quake where you're just going from room to room killing everybody. What's up, Andy? Man, you get to there's like I'm at level 6, the detention level. You're trying to find Crix Madine from Return of the Jedi. It is madness, absolute madness. I wanted to throw my controller at the TV. Like, whoever designed that level is insane, and I don't have video of it, but you have to go underneath elevators. You have to make sure that the elevator is the right level, and then you got to jump down, and then you get to this one part where you got to go through a force field, and sometimes the force field's going on and sometimes it's not. I'm like, is there a switch I need to turn off? No, like, and I was like, I'm playing this level for like 2 hours. I'm like racking my brain, like, there's no, it's like back in the day, like there's no guide to tell you where to freaking go.
It kind of sounds like the Phantom Menace scene where Obi-Wan is trapped behind the force field and he's got to wait, which is kind of a cool throwback.
Well, it's not, I don't know if it's a glitch. Like, I just need to be able to go through this force field, and there's no save states in this thing.
Of course.
So like, when you're like, if you can't, like, I had to go like pick up my kids, like, I gotta do the whole freaking level again.
Yeah, brutal.
So,
what were you playing on? I thought that we talked about this last time. That was the whole
I got it on Xbox. I got it on. I need to do more Steam Deck. Mainly, I just been playing the pinball stuff on there. Equip the red jewel and kneel down to the wall. Yeah. So, what's on your list for SideQuest Gaming Expo? We can talk about that. I don't know yet. Chris and I were talking about maybe going together. Maybe Eric, you want to meet us there? That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But so, Dark Forces, it looks visually really good, but the levels are super frustrating, and I can't be the only one that's having the same issues.
Are they more frustrating than the original, or is it just a faithful recreation?
It's a faithful recreation.
Yeah.
And then today, I got Final Fantasy 7 yesterday, Rebirth. I played the demo, and you get like 2 hours into it. When there's like there's a one story that came out when the demo was released, and then a week or two later they released another add-on to the story. I completed both of those. I pop in my new disc, downloaded the game onto the PlayStation 5, ready to go, and it said it loaded it's supposed to carry over your data from the demo to the new game, so you don't have to play those levels over again. I don't know what the heck I did wrong, but it didn't work. So I was so pissed at that too. Like, I gotta redo those stupid levels again. So please, like, yeah. Well, I can't spoil it because I'm gonna have to redo the stupid levels in the demo again, and it was like an hour, 2 hours. Man, that was frustrating. So that's my big gaming gripe right now. Uh, David's going on. Got to play about 20 minutes in before it gives you the option. Okay, got to play about 20 minutes in before it gives you the option to skip if you finish the demo. Okay, maybe that was it. Because I'm just like, because that was starting to piss me off because I started to see cutscenes that I had already seen. Only allows you skip if you finish the demo. Okay. All right. Thank you for bringing me down because like that was flipping frustrating. Um. Okay.
I don't.
David's on it. David's on it.
Yeah, he's been playing it. I haven't played it yet, so
I was worried I
I
did
don't
something
know.
wrong. It's not very. It doesn't exact. I tried to like reload my save file from the demo. It's gone. I don't know. These guys and these developers in Japan. I don't know how they think. How they Square Enix. But I'm really hyped. You got me really hyped, Eric, for Dune Part 2.
Oh yeah, I saw it
I
on
got
Sunday. Yeah,
Okay, you already saw it, so no spoilers, but
no,
you can give me your general impressions, but I'm going to go see it on IMAX tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. And I went back. I hadn't watched Part 1 yet until last week. I finally watched that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was great. I don't know why I skipped it. It's completely better than the original 1984 version. I never read the books, but I got a little more backstory on what the books were more about,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very impressed with what was going on in that movie. So it sounds like everyone thinks uh, this movie is just a step up and is really impressive. So if you want to just give everyone just a quick, if you
Yeah,
no
sure.
spoiler,
Yeah, I'll try to keep the spoilers to very very low bar there. Yeah, I do feel like this movie was more enjoyable than the first one. I liked the first one okay. I had some quibbles with it. Just from like a color palette perspective, the first film seemed like it wasn't very vivid, I guess. But they're in the desert, so. But again, I grew up on the '80s version where everything's real colorful. And I wasn't a fan of the casting of Duncan Idaho in the first film, but you know, Jason
who
Momoa, I think he's a good
who was
actor.
what was the Duncan Idaho guy?
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
Oh, okay.
Just having read the book and growing up with the David Lynch version, I think of him more as like a fencer, and fencers tend to be lithe and kind of agile and not really bulky. And so, but
Right.
maybe that's my own baggage I'm bringing to the film. But yeah, the second one, I think the pacing, because you've done all the setup in the first movie. The second one, pacing almost perfect. Of course, there's some changes, and for the most part, relative to the source material, there's some changes, and I think for the most part, those changes are really welcomed. The female characters, I think, are more fleshed out, which is nice to see. There's some interesting like political drama that they introduce within the Fremen that I don't think I got very well from the book, which they emphasized in the film. It was nice to see that too. They felt more, the Fremen felt more like a diverse and vibrant culture, not just a monolith that I kind of got that sense from the book. Yeah, there aren't a lot of mentats in the second film, which bummed me out because I like the mentat aspect from the books and the first film. So, but overall, yeah, really, really good, really good.
Cool.
I did not. Dathan's asking if I bought the popcorn bucket. No,
You had to go to AMC to get that
right?
popcorn
Yeah,
bucket.
I was at a Regal IMAX, and so I didn't get it.
Well, I saw Adam Savage already did like a 30-minute video on how to make a diorama with the popcorn bucket.
Mm-hmm.
that guy has a great genius kind of mind on how he thinks about things, and uh, so if you haven't seen it, I posted it on my Twitter, but it's really cool. But yeah, that popcorn bucket's getting kind of infamous now. Too bad they couldn't make it for Regal and these other ones. And I know I collect a lot of popcorn buckets, and the upcoming Ghostbusters movie, there's going to be a lot of different popcorn buckets from every theater. I don't know how you're going to be able to get them all if you wanted to. There's going to be like a ghost trap. There's going to be one that's Slimer. I think there's one that's the Ecto one. A lot of variations on that. So cool, but
Yeah.
like I don't know, it's like completely impossible unless you're gonna go on eBay and buy them all for some exorbitant amount. Yeah, I watched the original 80s version again in theaters a couple of weeks ago. Nice. Love Part 1 remake. Can't wait to see the second. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way, but Timothy Chalamet didn't really sell me in the first movie as Paul, but halfway through the second one, he really comes into his own, and I think he redeems kind of what I thought was lacking maybe in the first film in his performance. But yeah, it gets really good halfway.
Did you say the Mentat? Is that the guy that's like the computer?
Yeah, the human computers.
Okay, yeah. So I was totally kind of picking up on that. There was a one guy in part one that was the Mentat.
Yeah,
They're a society that have completely they don't have computers anymore, basically.
Right. Yeah, there was something called the Butlerian Jihad in like 10,000 years ago or whatever, and they had to overthrow the thinking machines, and so there's a ban in this universe on basically
AI. Yeah. Really fascinating, and I always like to think about, that book was made in 1965 or something. You can totally relate to things going on now in the news on some things. I guess my mind goes to the Middle East, but
sure.
You could relate it to a lot of other stuff. The hero's journey, a person that maybe didn't mean to be a leader, but was thrust into that.
The danger of like the cult of personality,
religion.
Yeah.
Well, he refers to it constantly in the book as a terrible, he has a terrible service he has to do. Paul Atreides, his entire thing is kind of like, this is a terrible future for me.
He's burdened with glorious purpose, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so it's thematically it's very interesting because of the fact that it deals with prophecies and how people shouldn't put so much stock in them.
Yeah, the manipulation of people through prophecies and
because I just got done watching Jodorowsky's Dune, the documentary where it talks about his whole thing, and it's a fascinating documentary, and it's funny to watch people pronounce his last name because they have Nicholas Winding Refn, the director of Drive, who pronounces it Jodorowsky, and then they have the director of a movie called Hardware who calls him Hodorowski. But the only one in the documentary who never pronounces his last name is Alejandro, Jodorowsky or Jodorowsky,
whatever his name is,
however you want to pronounce it. But the guy is just fascinating to sit there and watch him talk about his vision for what he wanted Dune to be, but he never read the book. And he had all this. He had H.R. Geiger, do artwork for the Planet of Harkon, and then of course H.R. Geiger's like. And then I read the book after I talked to him, and I'm like, the Planet of Harkon wasn't even in the book.
Gidi Prime, right?
Yeah. So it's a very fascinating. But I also bought the original 1984 Dune. I'm going to go back and rewatch that one. I plan on doing like a video at some point here where I just talk about the differences between all of the Dunes.
Yeah,
because we're going tomorrow to see Dune Part 2 as well.
Nice.
So I'm excited for that.
And I want to transition here. We're not going to talk about movies all night, but they are making a Dune video game, and I sent Eric the link
Yeah,
to it.
the Dune Awakening. Yeah.
Awakening.
Hmm.
There's going to be some kind of a live stream special on Monday coming up. There you go. It probably is.
Long live the
But,
fighters.
but I'm really excited now for this video game, and it looks like it's coming to all major platforms. Maybe it's not coming to Switch, but it'll be really interesting to see where they take that. I mean, you can't be Paul, I don't
Right.
think. You're some
Right.
other character, but it sounds like they're going to incorporate some elements from being on the Dune planet, and that sounds cool.
It's
So
like the same problem with I wonder how they're going to solve that problem. Like you mentioned, you can't be Paul, right? Everybody who plays Dune probably wants to be Paul, right? Just like when the Star Wars MMO came out, everybody wanted to be a Jedi, and originally they made it super, super hard to be one. You had to. Some of it was luck, some of it was being in the right place at the right time. Again, full disclosure, I never played the game. This is just what I read about it. But then the players didn't like that, and so then they opened up the path to being a Jedi was a lot easier. But I think that takes away from the specialness of the Jedi, or it would in the Star Wars universe, right? So I wonder. I'm real curious how they're going to solve this problem. This everyone wants to be Paul, everybody wants to be the Jedi in Dune Awakening. I don't know. I would imagine the solution would be to make enough compelling other options in the game so that you don't miss it. But you know, being like a carry-all driver versus being the Dune Messiah sounds like not an easy thing to make compelling. But we'll see.
yeah, I think with Star Wars 2, some of the new TV shows I think are starting to touch on this. You don't have to have a Jedi maybe in your show anymore. You have a whole universe, and there's a lot of other people you could explore their journey, and a lot of interesting just things to interact with. So I think that's the way I would go around it if I had this sandbox to create a game with. Yeah, I just want to ride the worm. Yeah, so hopefully you can do that.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, an easy way to do that is with Dune Awakening. If the story is like decades or centuries before Paul Atreides and the Atreides come to the planet,
You could do it like that
Arrakis,
too, right?
you and then you get to pick a Freeman character.
Well, you could
and,
be when the Harkonnen are still
For sure.
running the planet, right?
Yeah.
So
I do see that this is developed by the same people who did the Conan MMO game.
Oh, okay. Was that any
Conan
good?
the Barbarian. It's okay. I mean, the real reason to play it is because you can straight off the bat play a completely naked character, run around. And
All right, there you go.
You want to be a female and run through the desert naked?
That's why you started playing Baldur's Gate 3 at the beginning, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing I did, right? It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't judge me.
Yeah.
So the Dune mechanics for flying the ornithopters, I'm curious about, because I mean, they have that extension for Microsoft Flight Sim that's free, as I understand it, and you can plug in this feature to fly ornithopters on Arrakis. And then when you sent me Dune Awakening, I was wondering if that was really just like a tech demo for what they want to do in Dune Awakening. I wonder how similar the ornithopter mechanics will be between Microsoft Flight Sim and Dune Awakening. Does anybody have a sense for that right now? Has anybody heard anything? Because I think it'd be really cool if you could just train up right now on the Microsoft version and then get Awakening and know how to fly an ornithopter. I think that'd be dope.
I think I hadn't played Microsoft Flight Simulator in a couple years now, but the cockpit for the other airplanes in the new game is pretty impressive, and you can do a lot of real things in that. So yeah, it would be interesting. I haven't. There's also an update where you can fly helicopters and some other different types of ships that when the game launched you couldn't, and
Mhm.
that's kind of when I got the game. I don't know when that was, 2020, 2021. I turned it, I had it on my Xbox, and I just did random flights from Portland to Seattle, or I was, riding around the neighborhood in my twin engine jet, seeing what was going on below. And but the Ornithopter is really a really cool aircraft, and I don't think I've seen anything like it in any kind of movie or game before. So, and it's based in like a realistic insect. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, check that
Mhm.
out. But transition there. So like we're gonna see a lot of stuff on that game next week, which is great. And thank you to whoever that developer is. That's awesome. I wanted to complain about MLB The Show 24, so I'm going to be playing that in 2 weeks. The game comes out in early access on the 15th of March and comes out to everyone, I think, on the 18th. And we have literally seen nothing, no gameplay at all for that game.
That doesn't sound good.
That is crazy. They've introduced like just a few seconds of things, and but like that's a $70 game. The game comes out in 2 weeks. Are you kidding me? And I can't be the only one that's kind of like uh miffed on that. Um I yeah. Um it's coming to Game Pass, so I have a feeling it's going to be much of the same of what's what they've done in the past, and they're definitely using more of the same engine. Yeah, that's concerning. So I really hate it when these developers just phone it in. But
Sure. And
we can talk about them cutting costs, and they've definitely, a lot of companies cut their labor costs this week
yeah.
again.
Sony announced a big layoff
Yeah,
for their game studios, and it's interesting that they're taking, instead of going with the studios that they have that have performed poorly, they're straight across the board reducing labor, and they're taking from Insomniac, who had Spider-Man 2, which was popular. They're taking away from the developer of God of War. Some of their big titles, they're reducing labor pools from those, and it's
well, and here's the other thing, Chris. Like, I feel when Microsoft did it, it was probably a bigger number that
yeah.
jobs got cut. But when Sony does it, I feel like it just got swept under the rug a little bit. Like, I don't know. That's the way. Like, everyone got so mad at Microsoft, and I feel like Sony's doing the exact same thing. I guess Sony's sales for Spider-Man 2 were insane,
Mhm.
but it sounds like they released their financials. They're making very slim profit margins on these games, so they're trying to recoup some of that. The biggest way to do that is to cut your labor, and
Yeah.
that company that made Spider-Man 2 and Astrobot Playroom, man, they do not, that company produces great games for Sony, and I feel like they can do no wrong, and they're cutting their labor. Wow, that's a real bad sign for the video game industry.
Yeah, it's 900 employees is what they announced are laying off. So 8% of their workforce.
But it wasn't just Sony. Embracer Group, they went out and bought a whole bunch of companies last year or a year before, and now they are feeling it, and they are letting people go left and right too. So it's everybody, And the only company that I really haven't heard about is Nintendo, and maybe they keep that a little closer to the vest. But Nintendo is a publicly traded company in Japan, so I don't know. It's real interesting times. Not the best time if you're a video game. We've talked about this before. If you're a video game developer, designer, programmer, it doesn't sound like a good industry to get into right now.
Well, even outside of video game development, the layoffs started in tech. They started in like January of last year, and they haven't really abated. They've just been pretty consistent. Every month I read about a bunch. This month it's like Tinder laid off a bunch of people, and Vacasa, I don't know how to say it. Vacasa, I guess, is a local company. They're laying off a bunch of people here in Portland. Yeah, so it's rough, even outside of the industry.
The Embracer Group did do Saints Row. That was trash. Yeah, they did. David says, I think the response to Microsoft was mainly due to public perception. Oh, huge acquisition means Microsoft is doing great. Why are they letting go so many people? Right, and I get that. They just did this huge buy of Activision Blizzard, and then they're letting people go. It is really bad optics. But you also have to have the same time, Microsoft hasn't put out a game like Spider-Man 2. And if you play that game, that game is gold, money. Great game. It was my favorite game of last year. Sony's all PR. They know when to announce, so it would be swept under the rug. Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, Microsoft hasn't had a game really kind of take off like the Halo series did.
No.
They put out Halo 1, 2, 3, Halo Reach. They got those out there, and it was a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then Halo 4 came out, and people were just like, whoa, wait a second. You lost Bungie. You've lost a lot of the people who worked on the original Halo games, and we're starting to see there's no clear direction with the Halo series, and Halo Infinite came out. And I originally was excited for that one because it was like, oh yeah, an open world Halo game sounds great. And then it's like, oh, they're doing like most open world games where they have these side missions which are just copy paste.
I think I'll defend Halo Infinite a little bit. I really enjoyed it. I think where a lot of people got jaded was in the multiplayer. It wasn't what it should have been when it was released, and it didn't have the mode where you can make your own maps. People wanted that. All the stuff that was in the original Halo 3, like it should have been able to do all that, and it couldn't. And they made promises they couldn't keep.
Oh yeah.
And then they had to lay off people, and now they're, it's I haven't played it in a couple years, but when I played it, I definitely had a great time with it. Spider-Man 2 was great, but if you scrap below the surface, it was a rushed game. Something like 70% of Venom's lines were cut. It was supposed to be bigger. But was that due to them saving stuff for the Venom game that's coming out next year? I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, no, but I think with Halo 4, it kind of turned me off from the multiplayer modes, which is why I never played the multiplayer in Halo Infinite. And so the single player campaign just wasn't as exciting for me as the original Halo games.
Yeah. Well, and I get that. So it's very interesting. I did see a Saber Interactive. They were rumored to be making a remake of Star Wars: The Last Republic, or what is that game called?
Knights of the Old Republic.
The Old Republic, yeah. And it looked like that game was getting
Knights of the Old Republic.
Knights of the Old Republic. It looked like that game was going to get shelved because Embracer Group was going to cut it. It looks like they are getting bought out, or they are going to buy themselves out to be an independent company again. So maybe that's good news for them. I don't know. So, but I'd be very interested to play Knights of the Old Republic again. Um,
I'd be interested to play a remake because I bought the Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 when they re-released them on the Switch.
Mhm.
yeah,
And it's very much, it's a case of, oh yeah, these were a game of their time.
Yeah.
And they don't quite
they don't quite play like a modern game anymore.
What's funky about
Yeah.
it, if I can ask? Because I've never played Knights of the Old Republic. I have it somewhere. I just haven't gotten around to playing it.
They're very much like it's not quite at the level of the original Resident Evil games where you have that boxy turning going on,
Sure.
but it's just slightly better than that. And so it's not quite as smooth when you go to turn your character and kind of run through aisles and everything. But it's not quite as smooth gameplay, game frame, right? Rates just aren't what. I don't know.
I think
I'm kind of.
I would recommend playing Mass Effect. I think the same company, they went on to make Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Those games, Mass Effect 1, 2 is a great game. Um, those play excellent now. So, but if they do a remake, it sounds like they're doing a remake. Make it from the ground up. It could be something amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was plugging Free Stars / Star Control 2, the Air Masters last week, and anybody who knows that game that has played Mass Effect, they tell me I should play Mass Effect as well. So it comes highly regarded among the kind of gamers that I am. So I'll probably get around to that one too at some point.
Yeah. Do you ever see like some of the? I like when these gaming sites that you bought games with, they'll give you recommendations on kind of like what other people have bought. That's really fascinating to kind of look at. It's like, hey, you like this game, you have this game in your library, you might like this.
Yeah.
You might like this. That
Yeah.
is really
It has to be tailored to what other people have that in their library that's similar to yours. Otherwise you're victim to like the tyranny of the masses, like
right.
they'll recommend Halo to me and I'm just not a Halo player. I know, but a lot of people are. So
The gaming industry is not in a healthy place unless your name is Nintendo and you sue everyone. Yeah. Now, don't make an emulator that can play Nintendo games. So that was another thing that happened this week is Nintendo launched a huge lawsuit against a company that made an emulator that they think that can pirate their games. But
Yuzu,
man,
right? Yuzu is the
yeah.
emulator company. Yeah.
So, but their whole the Nintendo Switch is basically has a whole bunch of emulators on it. If you didn't realize it, it does.
Yeah.
So they're doing the same thing. They're just they're very protective of their intellectual property, and they can get away with it. It's crazy.
I wanted to swing back to the recommendations you were talking about.
Yeah.
I found it interesting with like Steam, for instance. They have their based on your library, they recommend things. But I've noticed there's a lot of like smaller independent games that I'll find on there that kind of go in with the games that I already have in my library that they don't recommend to me.
Mm.
So a lot of the recommendations I see are usually like the bigger titles, bigger names. Because I just saw this one on there earlier today that I was like, oh, that looks interesting, called the Mobius Machine. And it's a Metroidvania side scroller.
Oh.
But it's like, this looks like nothing you've played before. And I'm like, this looks like half of my library on Steam.
Yeah. All of that stuff is driven by metadata, right? And if they get the metadata tags wrong, then the recommendations, the engine fails. It's not like there's anything really sophisticated going on under the covers. They're just matching keywords to keywords. And so it could be a case of just the fact that the metadata isn't right. Yeah.
But it is March now, March 1st. Are you guys interested in picking up any games this month?
I was just looking at what's on my wish list here.
So I already said it. I am buying MLB The Show, although we have no freaking idea what is going to be, what the gameplay is going to be. Maybe I'm insane. We talked about the Princess Peach Showtime a couple weeks ago, Chris. I think that comes out this month.
Yeah, I believe it
I
does.
think people in my family would like to play that.
Yeah, Princess Peach, March 22nd. Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out this month.
Oh,
I
okay.
may wait to see.
Yeah.
Rise of the Ronin is another one.
So you're definitely getting Dragon's Dogma.
I'm probably going to wait to see what people are saying when it drops.
Okay.
But if it is similar to the first one, it's definitely going to be one of those that I look forward to.
Oh, and the new Contra game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, and the new WWE game.
The WWE
comes out.
game. Yeah.
You know, that they've scrubbed Brock Lesnar from.
They did? What's the story with that?
Yep.
Well,
so I don't know if you've heard the story with Vince McMahon and why
that he's not in the game anymore, is he?
No, he's not in the game. He was kicked from the board.
Can you do the whole thing where it's behind closed doors at the WWE offices and all right, bad joke.
Well, apparently Brock Lesnar is the
he's in the lawsuit.
He's the person that Vince McMahon was trying to sell these women to.
Yeah, oh boy.
And so it's he wasn't specifically named in the lawsuit, but they had
people that put two and two together.
The text messages said that it was a UFC fighter. And so there's only Brock Lesnar or CM Punk that were UFC fighters, and CM Punk seems to be perfectly fine as far as the WWE game goes. So
was Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar playable in last year's version of the game?
My understanding they were. I haven't played a wrestling game since being 64 years.
Yeah, that could make that game a little more infamous. And I know the other thing too is what I've heard is about those WWE games is they shut down the servers with them pretty quick. Maybe 1 or 2 years after the game has gone live, they want to get those resources to the next game. So if you have the old game and you want to play online, I think you're out of luck. Yeah, I believe they were. Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. But
there's I don't know when the release date is, but it's in early access right now, so probably not releasing this month. But the one I'm looking forward to here is called Hyper Light Breaker. I don't know if you ever played Hyper Light Drifter, but that was the first game, kind of a Zelda-like 16-bit style.
Okay.
Really cool music. But the Hyper Light Breaker is, instead of being like a Zelda top-down, it's a 3D. So we'll see if it translates. I'm interested to find out. But
it's kind of like an indie title a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's kind of my...
Is it an RPG?
The Hyper Light Breaker looks like one, yeah.
Yeah.
Hyper Light Drifter was just like a Zelda game.
I see.
It was more of an action game.
Yeah, like Link to the Past. It reminded me a lot of Link to the Past.
Yeah. There was the other one that comes out this month. Looks like it's either a new one in the series, The Alone in the Dark.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you remember playing the original.
Yeah, I played the original on my computer.
But yeah, March 20th, they've got the new one coming out, and I've seen a few videos on it, but I don't know if it's a brand new.
Yeah, Alone in the Dark on the computer, the one that I played, back in the early 90s, was actually kind of scary, especially for its time.
Yeah.
And I'm so stoked for Stellar Blade. Yeah, that I've been thinking about getting that one, but am I going to have time to play that one? Chris, I know Chris likes the assets in that game. You've said
You mean the plot?
no.
There's lots of
I play it
plot.
for the plot.
Yeah, but
I'm all about the plot.
I got to see what the reviews are. I think on that one before I pick that one up. But that one's April. Yeah, it's gonna be. There's gonna be a lot of games coming out here pretty quickly in short order.
Yeah, Google Images tends to focus on the assets here, is what it looked like for this game. So
It's a plot
oh,
driven
it's
game. So,
I get it.
Oh, she's based on a real model.
I don't need to know this. I don't need to know this.
They obviously did some 3D rendering. They got the Well, Chris has got the green screen already, so
just put her in the background along with the weather.
Yeah,
We're looking a little sunny here today.
Full moon
dude,
out.
if you wear a green shirt, you could totally do like a disembodied head kind of thing.
Well, I could. Maybe I need to get a green shirt.
Yeah,
and a green wig. Have some green hair going. People can do whatever. And I see Horizon Forbidden West is coming out on the PC. They're releasing the PC version.
I
of
still
that
haven't
game.
beaten that. I gave up on it.
There's another one here. It says Q2 on my wish list. Another one says Q2 2024 Chernobyl Liquidators, where you play as one of the workers who cleans up after the Chernobyl accident.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Yeah. That could be. That's
I'm
coming on
super
Switch? I
interested
think.
in that one too. Yeah,
Okay.
because after you watch
Yeah.
Chernobyl on HBO, you're just like, Jesus, the things those people went through. Making a game about it could be cool.
Yeah. Well, I've got one on my Steam library. It's what was the name of the stupid thing? Man, I don't remember the name of it. I'll have to try and find it. But you essentially are going back into Chernobyl, try and find your wife, because like the story of the game is supposed to be, instead of it being a nuclear power plant that failed, it was a dimensional travel that they had
Kind of a
created.
Half-Life 2 thing going on.
Yeah, you're trying to find your wife in the game and everything. Chernobyl Light. That's what the name of the game is.
I found a good list here about all the games coming out this month. Euphoria, the Saga 2 comes out today. The Outlast Trials, never heard of it. Snufkin, Melody of Moomin Valley. Unicorn Overlord, WWE 2K24, Contra, Operation Galuga, Lamasoft, the Jeff Minter story. That one is a digital clips game. I would be interested in checking out if the price is right. Star Wars Battlefront Collection, definitely probably getting that March 14th. Outcast: A New Beginning, Hi-Fi Rush on PlayStation 5, Alone in the Dark, Horizon Forbidden West on PC, Dragon's Dogma, that's March 22nd, Princess Peach Showtime, March 22nd, Rise of Ronin, March 22nd. Dang, a lot of games coming out then. Bulwark, Falconer Chronicles, March 26th, Planet Zoo, Console Edition, March 26th, South Park Snow Day, Chris, March 26th, Pepper Grinder, March 28th, Earthlock 2, it just says TBA.
You know what? I wish they'd remake or remaster the original South Park game that was on the Nintendo 64.
Right.
Where it was like a first-person shooter game, and you could take and piss on the snowballs and throw them at people.
What's up, Smoke Break? Yeah, there were some good ones. I still need to go back and play some of the South Park games that they came out with a couple years ago. I know some of them have been on sale. I just need to... I've got so much stuff in my backlog.
Well, the great thing is they're Ubisoft games, so they dropped down to about 250
Right.
at this point.
Oh yeah, and then of course
So-
we got Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Definitely gonna go out to the theater. That's March 22nd, I believe.
Mm,
I don't think they can
Yeah.
remake it because of Iguana Entertainment and Acclaim. What are you talking about? Iguana.
the South
Oh, the
Park
South
game
Park game.
for the N64.
Oh, Trent, Matt and Trey don't own it anymore. Oh, that's disappointing for them.
Yeah.
South Park. Okay.
Yeah, that's too unfortunate. Because that was a fun game back in the day.
There's not much South Park stuff anymore. Are they still making that show?
Show's still going on.
Is that on Paramount Plus or something
You-
now? Like, I feel like
I think
I feel
so.
like I haven't seen anything about that. I know they did their
I mean, the last
their
one.
pandemic special, and that's like the last I heard
Well,
about it.
They did the Panderverse, which was pretty
Okay.
funny. All about how Kathleen Kennedy was taken over by a Cartman version from another universe where it was all about women and how yeah. Anyway, it was pretty.
Those man bear pig.
I don't want to make.
appearance?
I don't want to make this a political.
No, no, please
night
don't.
and everything,
But
yeah, it's
They're
pretty
pretty
funny. So
they do a special a year and a 6-episode season a year on Comedy Central. Okay. Put a chick in it. Dude, I know where your mind is. Brother. Yeah.
yeah, so they're. I know they're still making stuff, and I'm sure they're kind of in that boat where they've had enough money that at this point they can do whatever they want.
They probably can. Don't they own Casa Bonita in Denver? What I heard, I saw on 60 Minutes.
Yeah, I
they
believe
do.
so.
That's pretty amazing.
It's brilliant.
So maybe they're dealing with that. Maybe they need to expand Casa Bonita so it's like everywhere. Like I'd take my family out to dinner there.
Sure. Get a margarita, watch a guy dive off the water, off the waterfall into the pool there. Yeah.
Sounds amazing. It's Cartman's favorite place. I think like it would be everyone's favorite restaurant.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a good one.
I picked up This War of Mine for $2. Anybody play that?
Oh, that's a good game.
It
was on. It's a super sale on Nintendo's store. So I figured $2 is pretty good.
Yeah, I bought it full price. And I'm trying to think. There was another game. I think
it's a gripping survival sim and a great study of survival during wartime and a civil collapse.
I heard it was more like a interactive storybook rather than a game, but even those I tend to enjoy in like small doses. Like Franbo, I don't know if anybody's played that one. That was pretty fun. There's a game called Neverending Nightmares, also like just a storybook that you kind of play. So yeah, we'll see.
You guys get the Capcom Humble Bundle.
I didn't
the best
see
one they've ever released. Interesting. I picked up Dragon's Crown for like $3. Hope it's good. I'm down for a $3 game. I love it when they're like 99 cents, under $1, and they're really good.
Yeah. Well, they the studio that made This War of Mine also made Frostpunk, which is a RTS. It's like supposed to be in the future where the entire world is just covered in like snow and ice, and you have to build up your little area and keep the ice and snow away. and everything, and you have to kind of manage the people within your group too. Otherwise, they can revolt and tear down everything you've done and kill everybody. It's a fun one.
Yeah.
'Cause who
I don't
doesn't
like
like it
games
when
that
you have to
stress
try
you
and
out.
manage?
Like I want to like a game that's just fun. I don't need games that stress me out and then you got to worry about um, disasters happening and dealing with guys that are gonna you build a civilization and then you got to worry about in SimCity, like you got to worry about Godzilla coming and destroying your town. Like I don't like any of that.
Yeah. I'm okay with it, but I understand the sentiment because, like, I don't like movies where there's not a good guy. Like, give me a good guy to root for. If I want like moral ambiguity and just feeling disgusting about my choices, I'll live my life. Thank you.
Right.
Give me movies with good guys and bad guys.
That's why I stick with arcade
Yeah.
games. Well, there's some weird arcade games too.
What was it?
Just
What was the one? Dungeon.
Just give me a sword and a gun and point me towards some zombies.
oh, and you know what? Actually, another game I played with my son this week. Me and my son, he's 5. We went and played Final Fight on Nintendo Switch, and we beat the whole. We
Oh
went
yeah,
through the whole game and just putting quarters in it, virtual quarters, and that was freaking amazing. Showing my son how to play Final Fight, so good. He
Dragon
wanted to
Slayer.
play the
That was
big
that was the one I thought.
guy Hager or whatever, and I'm like the other 2 guys, but oh, so good.
Cyan Spirits, if you haven't played Painkiller from like 2003, 2004 maybe, that's a good zombie demon killing fun romp.
The zombie games seems like that was about 10 years ago. That was the peak when Walking Dead, everyone loved Walking Dead, and now I feel like it's not as popular as it was. It's getting late. I can't talk anymore.
Yeah, what's the current trend now? We're not in vampires.
We're not in Marvel. We're not in
Monster.
Marvel movies. Are we in monsters?
No, it's I think it's monsters. Godzilla. We're seeing a resurgence in like
Godzilla.
the big monster movies, kaiju.
Sandworms is what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Dead Island 2 was amazing. We are still in peak, just not as common. Okay.
Now they got the new Walking Dead show.
Yeah, is it out? People like it.
From what I've seen, the first episode's pretty amazing.
We are in the start of video game adaptation cycle. Yeah, I would agree with that. Last of Us, Halo, Twisted Metal.
Dark Forces, right? You were just talking about one.
But I mean, adaptation to TV and movies.
Oh yeah,
Sonic 3 is coming out next year. We had the Super Mario Brothers.
Sonic 3 is going to have Jim Carrey.
Yep, he's coming back out of retirement.
Oh right,
apparently.
Super Mario Brothers the movie, that was big. Yeah, so I would agree with you there. So
Yeah. See what else they continue to do with those. Oh yeah, Fallout on Amazon Prime. They got that new series coming out.
Aren't they making a Borderlands one too?
There's a movie.
Oh yes, Borderlands movie.
Okay.
With Jack Black as the robot.
Are they gonna make a Leisure Suit Larry?
I'd heard about that.
I don't think that's the. We'd probably go watch that. I did see they're doing a Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson.
Huh.
Yeah,
that's gonna be dope.
Huh.
It's cool. I'm very happy that there is no writer's strike and there's no actor's strike right now, and they can finally get back to making movies. Because I feel like last year was pretty bad for
Yeah,
not much interesting came out that I
and the pandemic before that slowed
right in the
everything
pandemic.
down. So
So
yeah, it was a rough stretch there.
and Chris and I were just talking about Emerald City. We were looking at the guest list. Emerald City Comic Con is this weekend. There are not many celebrity guests appearing there. There's
I think,
Chris Evans,
yeah,
and
Dathan's
then
like Chris Evans, right?
yeah, Dathan's going to see him. But like, we're looking at the guest list, like, man, I think they're all working right now. They're all in Hollywood. They're all in
Good.
Toronto. They're all in. Yeah, that's great. So like maybe it sucks if we want to meet some of our celebrity idols, but okay, yeah, just have the AI do it. That'll make them happy.
It'd be terrible
Didn't they just make?
movies. Just
They put it in their union contract. They can't have AI anymore, right? But I don't know.
yeah,
Tom Cruise is
I
AI.
could see those just being terrible.
Yep. But anyway, it's been an hour, guys. Do you have any final thoughts? Great show. Man, these things go by quick. Yeah, guest list is pretty lacking. Yeah, so that we were. Yeah, I was into. You need to come back and definitely, Dathan, tell us what you thought of Emerald City Comic Con. Take some video, man. We were about to be flooded.
Oh, look. You have a fan in Sand Spirits, Garage Gamer.
I want to meet my idol, the Garage Gamer. Dude, well, you can come up to the swap meet.
Yeah, we'll be there. Oh, what's on our list for the swap meet? We never got to that.
Right. Let's Chris, if we see a copy of BMX Triple X, I think that's a winner.
Yeah.
I want to have like $100 spending limit. Like I don't want to go
Sure.
nothing
Nothing too
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
You can really
Yeah,
spend
yeah.
a lot of money at these things.
I
I actually now that I think about it, I want to do even less than that.
I passed on Metroid Prime for the Switch last time. I might pick that up if it's there. It's one of
Has the price gone up on that one?
I don't know yet.
It was 40 when it came out.
Yeah, $40 when it came out.
Yeah.
I imagine I'm hoping it hasn't changed too much, but maybe I'll get it this time. I'm looking for a TurboGrafx 16 copy of Raiden for my buddy Jeremy because he still plays TurboGrafx 16.
Awesome.
Tetris Attack for the Super Nintendo. I'd like to get a hold of the copy of that. And then I'm always on the lookout for Castlevania 1 and 2 for Nintendo, but they're so expensive now. It's tough. It's tough to find one in good condition.
Oh, yeah, a box copy, right?
Yeah, in box with.
I've got them loose.
Yeah, loose I could afford, but the in box ones are always like astronomically expensive. So,
do you already have Castlevania 3?
I've got 3 in the box. Yeah,
in the box. Nice. 3 was my favorite.
Yeah, it's a good one.
My buddy bought a copy of Musha for $600 at Classic Game Fest in Austin last year. They wanted $900.
Wow.
You can spend so much money.
Oh, I know some people who have, Dathan.
But
I may look and see if Eternal Darkness for the GameCube is there.
Why don't let's come back next week and think about that more, that question, like what if there's any specific games, because I don't really have a list at all right now. So other than BMX XXX, there's nothing else that really pops out at me. I think maybe there's some classic NES games that I want to pick up. I'm buying them loose. I'm not buying them in a box.
Sure, yeah.
But
my copy of Excite Bike's a little buggy, so I'd probably, if I see a decent price on that, loose.
Okay, I don't have a copy of Excite Bike. That'd be interesting.
It's fun. It's still
a decent price.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's come back next week, and Chris, you think about it too.
I'll probably put together a list of things.
Yeah.
I might look out
and
for.
then the next day we'll go to the swap meet. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's great hanging out with you guys, and nice chatting
Yeah.
with everybody who had some comments there in the chat too. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Eric, Chris, you're great as always. And if you're out in the live chat, be sure to give this video a like. We're trying to push the algorithm here. I'm also trying different things now. Like instead of just listing the title in the YouTube thing, I'm trying to put the topics in the title of the video. So I'm thinking that is going to push the algorithm out a little more, so we get some more people. What's up, Garage Game? Thank you, bro. We're just shutting down,
We're
but
late to the party, but it's all right.
that's all right.
Watch later.
Yeah. But give this video a like. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one, guys. This is we love having you. Thank you so much. Oh, I got one more thing, guys. One more thing. I just picked this up at Target today. I had Egon, I got Ray, and I finally got Peter.
Nice.
So
nice.
I picked this
oh up. Snap!
I'm way out of the loop. I don't have any Ghostbusters gear.
Wait, what can that thing do, dude?
You can...
Oh my god, I gotta have that. Where did you get that?
Walmart.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm going to Walmart tomorrow. Did Walmart have a whole bunch of them?
They had a few of them.
Snap.
But it's the one out here in Commercial that we went to, and so the bigger ones might have more.
The one Commercial had it. Okay, that's man. Do we buy video games next week
Echo
or
One
Ghostbusters merch? Anyway, hard choices.
That's right.
Anyway,
next week will be all about merchandise.
That was awesome, Chris. All right.
And the search for more merchandise.
It never ends. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the next one. And have a nice weekend. Bye.